All right. Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome back to another conversation at the Bitcoin Stoa. As a reminder, this is a community funded platform. So if you enjoy listening, you can support our work by sending some sats to the QR code on our website at bitcoinstoa.com, or you can stream sats using something like a Bitcoin wallet that has a podcast feature like Breeze or Fountain. Current Moscow time is 44:45 at 7:47:92. And with that said, it is my honor to welcome Gary Leland to the Stoa for a conversation about the unique annual gathering that he's created called BitBlock Boom. So Gary, welcome to the Stoa. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me to come on. Always happy to talk about Bitcoin.
You are most welcome, and I'm always appreciative and overwhelmed by the generosity of busy Bitcoiners doing lots of stuff and still being willing to give their time. So I very much appreciate it and intend to make good use of it. So before we get into the conference, I love hearing people's Bitcoin stories. And so, I'm always fascinated how today's top orange pillars come across Bitcoin and sort of the path that they've taken leading to today. So feel free to share it with as much detail as you want. And look forward to hearing it.
You're talking about my origin story?
Yeah, like when did Bitcoin first cross your radar, and what has been the meandering path till today?
I guess it's probably, I don't know when it first crossed. It's been a while now, but it was probably 2015, 16, something like that. And all I know is it was like under $100 when I first was introduced to it. But the person who is a friend of mine to this day, which he shouldn't be, but he introduced it to me as online stock. And I was never very good. I never had much success with doing online stocks. So when I heard it, I was like, I don't think I'm really that interested in that. Sure. If he'd probably said anything except online stocks, I'd have been probably more interested. And then I started hearing a friend of mine, Adam Curry, talking about it quite a bit on his show. Someone had at the time given him a tip, or sometime before had given him a tip of 33 Bitcoin. Wow. And he was always talking about, I'm going to keep this 33 Bitcoin. It's going to be worth a lot of money. It's going to be worth $1,000 someday, maybe more. I think at that time he was waiting for it to hit $1,000. And his sidekick partner on the show was always, that's a bunch of crap. It's not going to be worth anything. And so I started giving it more heed then. But I still didn't take the tip. So I guess I was your pretty typical 3 shots before I jumped in type guy. I think there are a lot of people that are exposed to it 3 times before they jump in.
Yeah, it's a common story where there's multiple touch points needed to really go down the rabbit hole.
It was for me, at least ways. It was for me. But when I finally jumped in, I was at a conference speaking in Dallas at a conference called the Big D Design Conference. It was about media, marketing and media and stuff like that. And I was speaking and I was walking down the hall and I saw 4 or 5 of my friends talking. And one friend, Tony, was telling the other ones about Bitcoin. And he had been speaking to them a while when I walked up, and when the conversation was over, they all just walked away. But he said something that interested me a lot. He said it was a missing internet protocol. And that kind of interested me because I designed my first e-commerce site. I started building it in 1995, and I got it going in 96.
Wow.
And so I had been on the net a long time by then. I had maybe 20 e-commerce websites that I ran and operated for myself. So do
you think that contributed to your interest, like being a tech oriented person? Do you think that made Bitcoin catch your ear sooner or quicker, maybe?
Yeah, that's what got me to. I asked him because of the fact he said internet protocol, and I had been involved in the internet for so long. I sat back and said, Tony, I missed the first half of the whole conversation. Would you mind explaining it to me? And we went and sat on the couch, and this was maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and at 5:30, 6 o'clock, we were still on the couch talking about Bitcoin.
Maybe.
And both of us had to leave. So I got in my car and headed home and turned on a podcast because, I was an early adopter into podcasting. I was probably one of the first 50 podcasters back in 2004. So I listened to podcasts all the time for a long time. Now everybody does, but then I got on the phone, got on my phone and found a podcast. And surprising to me, there were a lot of Bitcoin podcasts. Um, I can't believe I didn't know that, but I started listening on the way home. And when I got home, I called Tony and I said, hey, could I come over and meet you at the conference again tomorrow? We talk about Bitcoins more. And he said, sure. So I met him like 10 and listened to a podcast about Bitcoin on the way there. And then we talked, sat down on the couch and talked about an hour or so. Then he invited me over to his house. Him and his wife were mining Bitcoin. They were mining Zcash, I think, actually, and converting it into Bitcoin as soon as they got it. So he was showing me the mining rigs and everything, and trying to explain to me the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin. Those were the three main ones at the time. I think those might have been the only three that were on Coinbase at the time.
Wow.
Were those three.
It's hard to imagine that now, eh?
Yeah. I made it real easy to go buy crypto. There were three to damn choose from.
Yeah. And then chance of picking the right one.
30. But that I think is what made Bitcoin Cash take off so much. I think it was the fourth one added to it. And so it took off. But anyway, I went over his house and spent most of the afternoon over there. And I came home that night and started buying Bitcoin right away with a fever, and continued buying it for a while. And at first I was just into crypto. I think that's a normal reaction for people who get into Bitcoin, or it was at the time. But I meet so many people that are into shitcoins that I think that's a natural reaction for people to think, wow, if Bitcoin went from nickel to 1,000, 3,000, 20,000, 60,000, maybe I'll look up and this shitcoin will be worth a dime.
Right.
And I'll make a ton of money. And then normally they lose all their money. It doesn't get to be worth a dime and they lose all their money. Yep. But I think that's a natural reaction. And then, during the 2017 pump, when it went up to 20,000, I was 90% into Bitcoin at that time, maybe 95%, nice. But I lost everything that I had in shitcoins did die. That's
a lesson, right? Yeah, it's almost like some people have no choice but to learn that lesson. I mean, obviously the hope is that it's not a catastrophic lesson, but it seems like that's the only way to learn the lesson, right?
Yeah. You it's like being a little kid. You get a whipping, you don't want to go over there and do that again because you didn't like getting a whipping.
Exactly. Until you burn your hands on the stove. The stove looks like a nice place to touch, right?
Yeah, it's nice and pretty. But yeah, luckily for me, I was mostly into Bitcoin. There were just a few things I had not swapped over yet, I guess, because I was also at that time, I started mining Zcash like my friend did and converting it into Bitcoin, but I wasn't converting it fast enough, I guess. But Zcash did get up to $500 at one time.
Wow.
It's hard to believe, but I should have cashed it in quicker.
So I noticed on your website, it says Gary Leland, the Bitcoin boomer. And I've had, and I continue to have, a lot of conversation with boomers in my own family or in my own community. And it seems like there's a lot of resistance to Bitcoin, especially initially. And I think, my inclination is that they just haven't experienced enough pain to have to pay attention, right? Like the fiat illusion of one's wealth constantly growing just like hypnotizes them. So in your opinion, what do you think the biggest obstacle is to boomers? And maybe like what approach have you had the most success with when you have a conversation with a boomer who maybe has expressed curiosity, like a very small inclination to be curious about Bitcoin, but knows nothing about it? Like, where does the resistance come from, in your opinion? And are there any ways in that you've really found worked well?
Well, I think the main resistance comes from life experiences with boomers. We grew up in, I grew up in, early 60s, late 50s, and as a teenager in the 60s and early 70s, up until Vietnam War, at least ways, I think boomers and everybody was always believed that the government was doing everything for the people.
Right.
Whether they were or not, that was the general belief and the way people looked at the U.S. government, that they're going to take care of us, that they care about their people. And then
it was probably more true then too. Do you think it was more true?
Yeah, I think it was more true. Yeah. I think we already had, there were definitely underlying factors that didn't hold to that were more concerned with other things beside the people. But I think as a whole,
Yeah.
Government didn't worry about themselves as much, or politicians didn't worry about themselves as much. They always have, but maybe not to the extent today. I don't think you became a person who had a little bit of money and then got into working for the government and within a year or two had a lot of money.
Right.
I don't think that happened back then like it did today. And so because people grew up with that underlying faith, whereas people growing up now, more your age, grew up in a time where that faith didn't exist as hardcore, and it was like there was already a disbelief that the government was watching out for you more than anyone else. And
That's
so
a really good
your
point.
starting point is different. Both people have gone to the different level as far as trust goes, but the starting point was so high for the boomers compared to where it was for the millennials. And I don't know about you, but my parents always told me to go save my money in the bank, and it would be worth saving and stuff like that, where especially kids today, I don't think are being told to go put their money in the bank. I don't know where that falls on when it's not being told that anymore.
Yeah. And, even when I was really, really young, I remember going to a bank with my grandmother who helped me open an account. And I thought it was so cool that I could be paid 5% on money I put in there. I was like, oh, they'll actually pay me to put my money in there? I'm going to put my money in there for sure. And obviously that's not the case anymore, right? Like you're going more negative than ever before if you put money in a bank. And
well, can you open up a savings account? Can a kid even open up a savings account for $5 a week or something? I mean, with what banks pay, to
even the fees would eat that probably.
That's what I'm saying. They would actually lose money on the deal. So I don't know if they even open up those little, they were called passbook savings accounts when I was a kid. Yeah. I don't even think you had a little book, you kept it in. I don't even know if they want that business anymore.
Well, the banks around where I live don't even have tellers. Like it's just straight up digital. So it's like the world is changing so fast that I think a lot of people I think the velocity of change is the biggest thing that throws my parents off, right? It's like they're used to like, okay, I have new information, I integrate it, I adapt. And like, it's usually like a decade long process, but now it's like year over year, the whole world is flipping on its head, it seems. And so I think the rate of change is the biggest thing that people are just like, whoa, I can't handle this. This is too much. And the safety is just to do what they've always known, which has actually worked, right? For a long time. And if you're not curious enough to actually find out that it's not working, it still works, right? Like my old man invests in real estate, he thinks it's great. He thinks he's getting rich every year. But he doesn't realize that his measuring stick is totally fucked up. But that's a really good insight. I never even considered the fact that they came from a place of
like I said, trust. I think their thought patterns have been developed into something else. I also think that if you notice, well, anyone can notice this, the closer you get to 70, the more chances are that if you walked into a 7-Eleven to pay for a Coke, you'd pay for it with cash. Closer you get to 16, the less is your chances are that you'd pay for Coke with cash. That's so true. They do have that thing that they want to touch something because they just be using their debit cards, because who really wants to carry a mess with cash? Just old people. Nobody else does. And then they have a drawer in there with all their change in it because they don't want to take their change out and put it in their pocket. So every night they empty all that change into a jar where the millennial kid throws it away. Actually, if he gets some change, he just throws it on the ground, and as you go up behind, you'll see 12 cents laying on the ground because he doesn't want it. Or he'll leave it in that little dish at the convenience store where take some money if you want one, and that thing will be full with money.
Yep. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's get into BitBlog Boom, because this is really what made me curious to reach out to you. And once again, grateful if you're taking the time. I know you're a busy dude this time of year. I work for a health network. We put on events, and events are hard to put on, right? Like there's a lot of variables to deal with. There's lots of effort. It takes a lot of energy, and oftentimes there's like the energy you put in and the money you make are disproportionately separated. So usually from my experience, it's like people have to either have a lot of meaning or a lot of profit incentive to do an event, but either way, it's hard. So what made you in 2018?
It is hard. People don't realize that.
Unless you've coordinated an event, even a small one, even like 50 people, like it's hard. There's so many variables and unexpected problems you have to solve. You're signing on to usually a lot of stress. So I guess my question for you is, 5 years ago, when you signed on to creating something, an event, when you signed on for this work, what made you want to do that?
Well, I was a little luckier than most people who'd be in my situation. As I said earlier, I was an early podcaster. I'm in like the Podcast Hall of Fame. Nice. And I, along with 3 other people, founded what is, I think, the world's largest podcasting conference called Podcast Movement. Cool. It travels across the country. And I think pre-COVID, the year before COVID hit, in Orlando, we had 3,500 people.
Wow.
So I was used to running or being involved with the big conference. Then I sold my share of the conference the year before COVID, and which was a great time to sell it. It was the high. They just did it for the first time, I think, last year.
Wow.
Since COVID, and I think they only had like 1,500 people, so less than half of what we had. I didn't do the count, but that's what I would have guessed.
Yeah, you got to rebuild it, teams.
So now they're rebuilding it. So I sold it at a good time, but I was experienced with conferences, and I knew some people in the conference business, from doing that. And I just decided to do a conference just out of the blue. I said, I'm going to do a conference. And I was shooting for 75 people the first year, and it was in 2018, and we had just gone through that drop where it went from maybe $1,000 in January to 20,000 in Christmas near December, and it dropped back down to 3,500. So we were in that bear market, and doing 75 people was very hard to do. That was a very hard conference to do. We were actually, me and my friend Tony, who talked me in, I told you with my Bitcoin story, told me about Bitcoin. We decided to do it together, and I talked him into it. And we were out at night just going to meetups, giving away tickets.
Wow.
I mean, to get people there, because we had Saifuddin the Moose was coming, Pierre Rochard, Michael Goldstein. We had a nice lineup toward the Meester, and but we had no one coming. We had a better lineup than we did people coming. So we sold maybe 35 tickets and gave away maybe 35 tickets. So we had about 70 people. We had one sponsor, but that one sponsor decided he wanted to be our top sponsor, which was cool because he was the only one. He could have been any sponsor, and he'd have still got #1 rating. So that, I think our top sponsor cost 10 grand, and Bitcoin was maybe 7, and he would be a sponsor if he could pay in Bitcoin.
Cool.
And as you know, you may not know, I've never sold any Bitcoin. So that worked out really well. I mean, nice. Now, that I've had it, it really made my day. But that was a hard conference. But during the conference, we didn't have just Bitcoin people there. We had Bitcoin and crypto people. As I said, I started out and I was a little bit into everything, but I think I got completely orange pilled during the conference itself.
That first one?
Yeah. During the conference, by the time the conference is over, I was talking to Saif, and Saif said, Saifuddin Moose, he said, I think this is the first, he must not have gone in for a couple of speakers because he said, this is the first Bitcoin maximalist conference I've ever been to.
Maybe it's because of the people there. That's another option too, right?
Yeah. Maybe because the people who had paid were maxis.
Cool.
And the ones who had gotten free tickets didn't know one way or another. They were just coming to find out what it was. Yeah. So there wasn't anyone going, hey, we need some more Litecoin up here or something. Yeah. And speaking of Litecoin, getting off subject, do you ever watch Fox News?
I'm in Canada. I don't even have Fox News.
I watch Fox Business News in the morning, not Fox News.
Okay.
And I'm changing the subject, but
that's all right. We go where it goes.
If you go watch their show every morning, they tell the price of Bitcoin. Every morning. They've been doing this for quite a few years. And they show up on the board, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. Why in the hell would they show Litecoin? If they're going to show 3 coins, do they just not make a new graphic? Do they not want to spend the money?
Maybe the Litecoin CEO paid them. Who knows?
But I mean, they've been doing it for like 5 years, the same image. But anyway.
Seems weird.
I'll get back to
the guy with the television prompter is a Litecoin dude. He snuck that in there, maybe.
It's just so weird. But anyway, sorry, I changed the subject because that was not pertinent. That's like a pet peeve.
That's okay.
Why the fuck do they show that? Anyway, then the next year we went after strictly Bitcoin.
Amazing.
Yeah, we started and we did well. And then with the third year, was during the middle of COVID. Mm-hmm. And I decided to go ahead and do it anyway because I had enough people wanting to come. And my hotel got shut down. My hotel called me 2 weeks before the event and said, "Oh, we're closing the hotel for COVID."
That's where you're going to do the actual conference?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
In their
so
ballroom. I found another hotel like a block down the street. And they were happy to get my business because they had no conference 2 weeks before. Perfect. And they had hardly any staff on hand, but they were willing to take the conference. So I did it there. And we got a lot of cred for doing the show during COVID.
Yeah.
And then that put us in a place, we were the only people who did a conference that year. So, or let me put it this way. I think 2 other people did a show that year, but they didn't do it the next year. Gotcha. So that put us at 5 years as or even at 4 years, as the longest running Bitcoin conference on the planet.
Powerful. Good for you, man. Because that is such a, I mean, the willingness to just, that's what I mean by it. Conferences are hard as shit, because something like 2 weeks before you have this thing planned and everything gets put in the garbage pan. You got to figure out how to do it. It's like, that's some hard stuff. So good for you for pushing through.
It is some hard stuff. I can tell you, he goes, man, everything had gone wrong. And she goes, I got some bad news for you. I said, what in the fuck else could go wrong?
Yeah, dude.
You know, what else could go wrong? And I hadn't even thought about the hotel closing.
Yeah, no kidding.
She goes, well, we're closing the hotel, so we have to cancel your. I'm like, what? Crazy. That haven't even on the mind. So, but the funniest thing, when we went to the next hotel, none of the people would wear a mask at the conference. And I mean, a few, but 90% didn't wear a mask. Cool. And so they were all walking around with cups of coffee, just holding them.
That's the permission to not wear a mask, right?
Yeah, I'm like, hey guys, get cups of water. Those cups of coffee are $5 a piece. It costs me. Get cups of water.
That is so good.
So they're all walking. And then I come out at about noon. This is kind of a funny story. I come out about noon, and they go, Gary, I need to talk to you. So yeah, what's up? I got like 10 minutes before I got to be back on stage. And they said, oh, no, we need to talk to you in this room. I need to talk to you in this room. And I was like, okay. And so I went in the room, and there were 2 more people in there. So it's 3 of them. And they said, well, what in the hell's the scoop? I only got a few minutes here. And he goes, well, your people won't wear their masks. And that's the mandate. And they're walking around with cups of coffee. It's like they think that's going to fool us. And so that's why I brought up the coffee thing, because it didn't fool them, I guess.
That's such a Bitcoiner thing to do, too. Just find a way to make it work, right?
I said, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not their daddy. I might be old. I might look like their daddy, but I'm not. And they said, well, we're going to have to call the police if they don't start wearing a mask. I said, well, you might want to call them. They'll really like that. They'll love that shit. And they said, what do you mean? So, man, they will just eat that up like no tomorrow. That'll be all over TV. They'll be filming. There'll be more people taking off their masks to get arrested, probably. Even the ones that still are wearing them will take them off.
Yeah.
And so at that point, they just completely dropped it. Didn't bring it up ever again.
And you stood your ground. Once again, you stood your ground. You're like, no. This is reality, folks.
And you could see them scouring from the distance with their masks on and everybody not wearing their masks.
Beautiful. What a great story.
Now this year we're moving to Austin.
Yes.
And, I kind of like, I don't necessarily want it to, I know it's not going to be the best conference in the world, but I kind of like in my mind.
Why do you say that? Because I've heard from a lot of OGs that this is the only actual Bitcoin conference in the world. So if it's the only one, it is the best.
Okay, well, we can go with that. In my attempt to make it that, I had to think, you would scale things. You'd go, well, my speakers, what were they on a 1 to 10? Maybe he had a 9 there. And your audio equipment, what was it on a scale 1 to 10? I can tell you that was a 4 last year. To damn sure. We got that up to a 9. And one of them would be location. Austin would be a 9. I had it in Addison, Texas. I've been all over the country, and every time I tell someone I'm from Texas, they go, I really want to go to Austin. No one's ever said, I really want to go to Addison. So we've moved it to Austin, which was really hard again to move it, because now I'm working from 150, 200 miles away. Every time I need something, I could just run over to the hotel before the conference center or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Now I can't. And if there's an issue, I can't handle it so quickly. So it's a lot harder. Next year it'd be easier because I'd have like my roots laid down, maybe I could use some of the same venues again. But that was the reason for moving to Austin, which was right. Everything's taken off like no tomorrow in Austin. So it was a good move. Yeah.
Austin is like quickly developing into the OG Bitcoiner hub of the world. Like I think I've heard you say Miami's a crypto capital, maybe of the States, but I don't even know if there's a close contender for the United States in terms of a city that is awesome and unique, but also is like very clearly a Bitcoin place where Bitcoiners want to go there.
I agree. It's a Bitcoin hub. I was there last week for Consensus, and that was a lot of crypto people there, hardly any Bitcoin people. I saw like 3 or 4 people I knew, and it's very rare that I go to a conference and only see 3 or 4 people that I know. And I met Jimmy Song down there and CJ Wilson and Amanda. We were signing our books. They gave away our book and had to sign them. So I was there for that. But that really, there were supposedly 15,000 people there, which I'm not sure if there was or not. But that was one of the few times I'd say there was anything crypto about. I think their crowd was down. I don't think crypto crowd wanted to go to Austin. I think they wanted to go to New York maybe, or
interesting
something. Yeah.
I've heard you say on a podcast that when you created BitBlock Boom, you wanted to create the kind of conference you would want to go to. And so I guess my question is, what kind of conference is that?
It's a conference where you hang out in the hallway.
Okay.
I don't know when the last time I was that I actually watched the speaker at a conference. I don't go to watch speakers. Right. I mean, for instance, like last year, the year before, I'm standing there talking to people, and they're going, "Oh, we're going to go inside. Michael Saylor's getting ready to talk." I said, "Okay, I'll see you later." And then when I wake up in the morning, I turn on YouTube and I watch Michael Saylor's session. Right. So I don't have to go sit in a room crowded with a bunch of people. I've never cut a deal or made a lot of money sitting there watching someone talk. Agreed. I really haven't. I've made all my money and cut all my deals in the hallway. Like I found about Bitcoin in the hallway, not inside a conference room, sitting there watching it from talking to the guy on the couch for 5 or 6 hours in the hallway.
Yep.
So I made a networking hub. Exactly. It's a networking conference.
I heard you call it a family reunion too. And that one got me because I'm like, that's like you said, that's why you go to a physical place, right? It's not just to watch the things you can watch on the internet, maybe catch a few nuggets and like a keynote where everyone has good energy in a room. But for the most part, it's to meet other people in the flesh and have like off the cuff random conversations over a beer, because that's not what you can get anywhere else. That's why you go.
Yeah, that's the deal and I want to make it so that it's a family reunion. So when the next year comes, someone goes, "Oh man, you want to go down to the Bahamas?" And they go, "When is it?" And they go, "It's the last weekend in August." You go, "Are you crazy? I got to go see all my buddies at BitBlock Boom." That was what I was trying to create. And so I get to see all my buddies too at BitBlock Boom. But also at BitBlock Boom, the people who are there, who are at the conference, we reward with a super discount.
Right.
So if they go ahead and sign up while they're there, they can get it dirt cheap compared to what it's selling to today.
I love that.
And they have till July the 1st of the next year to cancel. So they got 10 months to cancel, because I realize no one knows what they're doing the next year. Their daughter could be getting married. Their wife could be in the hospital, but you got 10 months to cancel it. So it's foolish for someone not to just go, "Well, let me go ahead and buy it. Who knows what I'm going to be doing."
And I like how you reward. It's like, the first time you go, you pay a bit more to become part of the family, but then you get the family discount if you come back.
Well, you got to got to like help subsidize the family.
Yeah.
Because the family pretty much with what Austin cost got it at pretty much my cost on everything. So everybody who comes after that is subsidizing the family, for the most part. And, and you got to it sounds crazy, but you got to say tickets go up, at the end of the month. Tickets go up to the end of the month, then have a price increase or no one ever buys them.
Yep.
They don't, because the end of the month, the last 3 days are all our ticket sales for the month. So if I said, "Oh, they're going to go up August the 1st of 2023 and it's August 31st of 2022, no one will buy any tickets.
Exactly.
Until 2023 for the most part.
Plus, it gives you more. I mean, as an event coordinator, I knew that the more in advance I knew who was coming, how many people were coming, the more I could plan accordingly. So if everyone loads it right on the back end, it kind of it's not as easy to do something that's already difficult. So I totally get that. It makes sense.
Yeah, we've sold out. I think the first year we didn't, but I think we sold out every year except the remaining 3 years, and we probably only got 100 spots left right now. So this will sell out this year. We have a bigger location, and if I didn't do a bigger location, with it being in Austin, I would have to go up a lot more than I did go up on tickets. So we did instead of because Austin's expensive. Everything's 3 times the cost down there. Everything's triple the cost. Wow. So instead of going up triple the price on everything, we went up on the amount of people that could come, went up on ticket sales, and then went up on sponsorship. So we went up everywhere, a little bit, and that seems to have compensated. But yeah, we'll probably be out of tickets probably middle of July, August 1st. It's amazing. Once we run out, then all of a sudden, all these people are calling. Can you get sponsors are calling to get their friends in, blah, blah, blah. So
You should set aside, you should triple the price and offer like 100 extra tickets and just say like standing room only. But if you really want to come, then this is how much it costs.
Well, actually, we found out, we have figured out that not everybody does show up. It's kind of funny, that's the thing. But we have maybe a 10% no show rate for some reason.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's your cap this year? How many people? What's your limit?
600 is our cap.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an intimate conference.
Well,
like
this is the biggest by far it's ever been. So
I mean, compared to like the Giga conference in Miami or all these, giant crypto conferences, it's like this is
well, you can't have that Giga conference and have it be a Bitcoin conference.
Agreed.
I mean, to have a Giga conference like that, you have to have everybody there.
Yep.
And then I was running into someone. Don't get me wrong, I like all the guys there that put the conference on.
It's a different kind of conference. It's in a different league. Yeah.
It's like shitcoiners will go to that Bitcoin conference where shitcoiners don't really come to mind.
Yeah. Shitcoiners are part of the reason they can do it at that scale.
Yes, that's what I was getting at. Where mine on the front page says no shitcoin talk. No, it tells you no NFT talk, no shitcoin. And we're real clear about it.
Yeah.
I think the rules 2 years ago were we had them on the site for a while. But at first time you get reported for talking about shit coins, I come over and personally talk to you. Second time you get reported, you'll be asked to come out in the hallway and someone will talk to you. You get reported on the third time, you're kicked out the event with no refund.
I love that.
So we're pretty harsh about the shit coins and NFTs. And
I mean, you say harsh, but it's like the rules are simple. The rules of the game, it's like Bitcoin, right? You don't play by the rules, you don't play. The rules are there for a reason.
And we're up front, so it's not like someone goes, shit, I thought I could talk about Litecoin here.
Right.
We go, why the fuck would you even want to talk about that?
Go see Fox News. Fuck off.
Yeah. I mean, it's like number 30 maybe on the fucking, I don't even know where it's at, but it's got to be way to fuck down there. It's like,
and pick a better shitcoin because that's a ridiculous one.
Yeah. And then didn't that guy like clean up, sold it all at the high at $350, bottom dropped out of it and never got back in. He said, I did it for all y'all.
Probably bought Bitcoin with it. So
yeah, probably did.
What one thing I want to talk about is I know you do shorter speaking slots, and I'd love to know, why, how is that different from other conferences you've been to, and why do you do it that way? Because I do think there's something unique about that.
Most conferences do 45, 50-minute speaking slots. My previous conference did 45, and the first year was 45, 50. Then I started studying it. I like to do, I've always heard complaints like at my podcast conference, we had maybe 10 rooms going. I mean, when you have 3,500 people, you have a lot going, and so does Miami. They have a lot of rooms going on.
Yeah.
But people, I always heard from someone, I wanted to see both John at one and Ted at one, and I couldn't. So I do everybody in one room, instead of a lot of smaller rooms, or well, if it's Miami, they're not small rooms, just a lot of bigger rooms. But I was working on scheduling that, and I started thinking about it. I was going, maybe I can do 45 minutes, 40 minutes to try to get in some more. And I started thinking about myself when I speak. When I speak, I work up all this stuff, and I got my presentation already, and I go through it, blah, blah, blah. And I go, oh man, that's only like 35, 40 minutes. I got to add some shit.
And it's filler. It's not signal, it's filler.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do that. Okay, I add another 15. So I said, what happens if we just like had them remove 15 minutes of shit? And so we made it 25 minutes of speaking sessions and then 5 minutes for questions and answers. Number one, I have never had anyone go, wow, he spoke way too short amount of time. I've never had anyone go, I needed more time. And they all seem to get their crap in. And 5 minutes is fine for questions, because at my conference, people stay there all day. It's not like they come in the back door and leave. They might be sitting in the audience, and then they just come walking up on stage. So I find 20 minutes is the best time. And then I can have twice as many people in one room. I mean, instead of having two rooms for that many people. And really, I can tell you, they can get their stuff in 25 minutes. I've done it for 25 minutes for 3 years now. They can get their stuff in 25 minutes, everything they need to say.
Yeah, just trim. Just like put your best shit there, trim the fat, and you're left with a really powerful 25 minutes instead of like a diluted 50. So I think it makes a lot of sense. So let's talk about a couple new things that you're doing this year, because I know you're doing the bus tour. I know you're doing chess tournament. So like, where did the impetus for these things come from, and what are you most stoked about for 2022 to sort of unveil to everyone, to the family?
I'll think about that one while I answer the other ones.
Okay.
The chess tournament came up from the fact that last year Muzz, a friend of mine, Michael Jarmuz, he helps with the Unconfiscatable Tone Vases conference in Vegas, but he brought 3 chessboards last year and put them out in the lobby, and people were playing chess the whole damn time. And so I had bought chessboards and chess pieces to set up. And then Muzz asked me, said, hey, he's doing a new thing called Bitcoin chess or something, chess blitz or something. I said, well, I was already going, he goes, can I do it at your event? I said, I'm already doing a chess thing. And I just was going to have the games there. And he talked me into making it a tournament.
Cool.
And I think it's $30 to enter, which we felt was close to 100,000 sats. And the winner wins a million sats and this a ticket to next year's.
You win the pride of winning the tournament. Let's be real.
And we're going to make some kind of stupid looking trophy. And the championships will be that night during a casino night, and they'll come up on stage and we'll announce the winners and give them this stupid trophy. And we're going to do it different. Also, we're going to do it like a single elimination, like a tournament, like if you were in the College World Series or something. And so you can walk up and see the brackets. Yeah. And you can see who's that. And you go, oh my gosh. So-and-so's up at 2:00 and playing the winner of so-and-so. And I think that'll add another touch, because I was told that was stupid. They don't do chess that way. They keep these scores and stuff.
Sounds great to me.
That's how we're doing it. I said, I don't think most people understand chess. The majority. I think our crowd's smarter than average, so probably more people do. But some people just want to walk by and go, oh, look, Tone is playing so-and-so, at 2 and come back. So we're doing that. And then the Riot Tour was, Riot is a gold sponsor. And I asked them if we could do a tour, and they said I could bring 80 people, but that's like an hour 15 away. And it's way out in the boonies. You'd never catch an Uber from there.
Right.
You might get one to take you there, but it'd be a fortune. So I just chartered 2 buses.
Cool.
So we have 2 buses that hold 40 people each. We have 1 guide in each bus, so 49 seats. Taking people out there. We're leaving the hotel at 9 a.m. and then touring it and having lunch out there, barbecue lunch out there, and then bringing them back. Is what that's about. So I did ask yesterday if they'd be willing to do a second day, because we sold that out really quick. Cool. So that's on Thursday. So we're trying to put a second day into that. Now we do workshops on Thursday. We started that last year. I had some empty rooms across the hall, so I did some workshops in them, and they did halfway sold out, I guess. So the workshops hold a little more people this year, but I have so many more people, and they know their workshops. So I'm kind of scared we're going to have more people that can fit into the workshops. Where it was just like it was like an add-on. Yep. Where now I think people expect it. So it's like, you should have bigger rooms for these workshops. Where it's just a little thing we did. So I'm hoping that that works out. And then we announced tickets for BitBlock Shoot. Friday, I think we did that last year. We've rented a private room at a really nice gun range. Yeah, it's a really nice facility. And it was a lot more expensive than last year. It was like almost triple the price again. So our tickets are not triple, but they're almost double.
Yeah. So you're curating an experience. So you have the conference itself, which is like multifaceted, multi-day, but you're kind of curating an experience. And what I think is the coolest part is that, you mentioned it as like a buffet, right? Where it's like you have a menu, you can pick what you want. You can do it all, but you can also just pick what you want. I think that the ability to customize your experience and offer all these unique things, like that's very powerful.
That's what my people that work for me hate about BitBlock.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Is because everybody's got a different combo of tickets. And they're like, just give them 1 ticket for every damn thing. Then we don't have to like say what tickets you got and blah, blah, blah. But, some people, whether it's because of their time off or because of their financial situation, maybe they just want to come Saturday into the workshops Friday.
Yep.
Because that's like 1 ticket. But there's some people going, heck, I just want to get everything, and they want to go to everything. So I've kind of like made it so, just like you say, it's an a la carte thing. You pick what you want to go to. Beautiful. And you go just to that. If you don't want to stay Sunday for the brunch, which a lot of people do, why should you be forced to buy a ticket for that? It would be a lot easier and maybe more profitable if I had 1 ticket for everything. But, we got a party every night. People seem to like my parties. They're expensive parties to put on.
What's a good party? I heard you throw a pretty solid party. I've heard you brag about throwing good parties. What's a good party, Gary Leland?
Like last year, our barbecue party was we were usually renting an entire restaurant. Like this year, we rent 2 facilities, the entire facilities. One, we've rented the entire nightclub on Rainy Street in downtown Fort Worth, and and then they don't have food there, so we're bringing in barbecue. We have a barbecue caterer coming to the restaurant.
Wow.
And the second party is I've rented a warehouse facility, and I'm bringing in furniture, I'm bringing in bars, I'm bringing in food, I'm bringing in liquor, I'm bringing in entertainment, so it's just an empty shell. I'm bringing everything in there.
So you go above and beyond for family, it sounds like.
Yeah. It's a good, there'll be good parties this year. I'm always concerned that someone will be unhappy. My wife always goes, my God, Gary, how many conferences we've been to this year that we left and going, man, they really screwed that up. And I bet they didn't hear one complaint. So You're not going to hear any complaints, but I just want to make sure I don't.
Well, thank you for everything you do. I mean, I'm going to be one of those laggards that gets in, like I can't leave Canada right now because their fucking politicians don't know what they're doing. I'm hoping that things change. And if I can't, as soon as I get the green light that I can get on a plane, because I can't drive there. I sold my car because I wanted to buy more Bitcoin. So as soon as I get on a plane,
I thought y'all were all cleared up there and people were able to leave now. I mean, I don't know. I'm not in Canada. I just saw it because I know Rockstar Developer is going to be there. And
well, if you're vaccinated, you can go. But if you don't, just the idea that you have to show something to get into a Canadian airport is such a ridiculous notion. They're getting a lot of pushback though, so I'm optimistic.
You can't just drive over the border and get into like Michigan or New York or something and fly.
You can. It's just I got to find someone that has a car to drive down with to Texas.
Yeah.
That's all right. I mean,
situation again.
I'll manifest it. I can do everything in my power to make it happen. And so thank you for taking the time today. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I hope everyone listening are stoked to
ask good questions
to get there. Eventually, I look forward to meeting you in person. One question for you: regardless of who's a register for chess, what chess game would you want to see most at BitBlock Boom this year? Who do you want to see play?
I would like to see Jack Mallers play developer Rockstar developer. Okay. Both of them are supposed to be excellent. We have Stefan Laver is signed up to play. So we have him, but we don't have Rockstar or Jack yet. And both of those are supposed to be excellent chess players. So
cool. I want to see Jack Mallers play Michael Saylor. I know Saylor plays chess.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe eventually. Gary, thank you for your time.
Michael's not coming.
Not coming to this one, but it sounds like you're not stopping doing these. So you never know.
No, never know.
Once he catches on that this is the OG family reunion, I don't know if you'll be able to stop him from.
Well, he knows that I was at his house talking to him and a friend of his, and Eric said, "Gary, you need to add more people to this thing because people will come. You need to add more people." And I said, "No, I don't want to do that." And then Michael's like, "That's not what he's doing, Eric. He wants to build a small community." So Michael understood.
There you go.
Right away what I was doing. Yeah.
Eric's the guy that I heard talk about Michael and him, because Michael and him apparently play chess. That's where I heard it from.
Okay. Well, so, Eric orange pilled Michael.
Yes.
Yeah, and both of them are real good guys. I mean,
that's an epic orange pill. Like you get high rankings for that one.
That isn't it. You only have to orange pill that one to get cred forever.
Yeah. If you factor in the trickle down of everyone Sailor's orange pilled and they're like part of that's your layup, then you're doing pretty damn good.
Yeah, if you get 10% of that, as your cred, you got a lot of orange pill cred there.
Gary, where do people find? I guess bitblockboom.com is the website.
Yeah, BitBlock Boom. I also want to make sure everybody knows about the book I just got through writing with
let's talk about that briefly.
Bitcoin and the American Dream, and that's at bitcoinandtheamericandream.com, of course. But take a look at that book. That's a book that you can read in an hour and a half, and it's like my conference speakers. It's the meat, cool. No filler. And if you want to it's really made for politicians. So if you were getting ready to ever go talk to a senator or a congressman, whether it's state or on a national level, you should get a couple of copies of that book and take up there and give to the staff. And them,
I'm in the epicenter of Ottawa politics, and I know some people that are involved in Parliament Hill. So I'll have to get some. I ordered a copy of it. It's en route, along with a book called "How the Prime Minister Stole Freedom," which is like a kid's book that talks about how Justin Trudeau stole freedom from Canada. So I'm looking forward to reading that.
But, I'm really surprised with all that Justin Trudeau stuff going on.
It'll end. I mean, I think we need that in order to get to the pendulum swings, right? You got to get the worst of the worst in order to get way better. And I think
both countries must have it right now then.
Yeah. I mean, it's rough waters right now, but it leads to a better place. So we just got to, stomach it, and I think we're good. Gary, I appreciate your time. Thank you for chatting. I look forward to meeting you in person.
I enjoyed it completely.
I look forward to getting down to BitBlock Boom, and to everyone listening, thanks for being here, and we'll catch you next time.